November 12th, 2014, so at this time we'll call to order our special session. For today we have one timed item, and that's all we'll be talking about. If everybody could please silence or turn off their cell phones and join us in the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, our roadmaster, Mr. Rick DeMellew, Atkinson Engineering Service Agreement for action or consideration.
Okay, we have went through this a couple times, and I think we've got it right. And have you guys got a copy in front of you with the little blue writing?
Blue writing?
Yeah, for the corrections or the add-ons.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you go through it, what's in blue is kind of what we changed when we had our meeting with Jeremy, and Brad was there too. And because the first time we looked at it, we seen some things that we just had questions on and wanted to address it, especially the timing of the project and the window when everything had to be done. So I'll just go through the pages real quick that were changed.
Well, for the audience, can you give a general synopsis of what the project is and what this engineering is intended to do?
We had put in for a grant on Federal Highway on the Dog Lake Road, 4.8 miles, and it needs to be full depth reconstruction. And we had to have a lot of people help us put into this grant, the Forest Service, the BLM, and ourselves. And it's quite a bit of a lobbying work, political, to get these grants. And we ended up with a $4 million grant, being a total of $4,460,000, which $460,000 will be in kind match from the road department as far as labor and buying some rock material and fabric and a few items. So we was really thrilled to get this grant. The problem with Federal Highway, they have so many projects out. It's taken a little time to get it, the kickoff meeting, and get this going. It's slated to be done in the summer of 2015, and with the paving will be done in 2016. So it'll give a whole year for the base to settle before we put the asphalt on it.
And that's the Dog Leg part. How will the Heart Mountain proceed?
It will start in 2015. That's another different grant that we put in on the Federal Highway. It was money that was left over from the first round of federal grants. These are all accesses to the federal lands. So the one at Heart Mountain is supposed to be more of a preservation grant. It's not going to be like a full depth reclamation. It's going to be a 4-inch overlay on 4 miles and 9 miles of chip seal from Plush to the dirt road that goes up to Heart Mountain. And we put in for it later on in that year and received it too. So this agreement covers that project as well.
So Rick, before you go on, can you help me out when you talked about the blue writing versus the actual clean one? What is the blue writing stuff that was?
If you got the clean one, that's the same thing probably as the blue.
Yeah.
It's just don't have the blue in it, and that's the way it's gonna look. That's the new agreement.
Copy, okay.
The blue is what he showed that he changed through our discussion.
Okay.
So,
Rick, on number 4, that was the one that you and I, we talked about quite a bit with Jeremy. And the estimated price came down from the original one. Thank you for catching that and looking at that so close. The one thing that I'd ask about was if the Federal Highways program, if it held up, that it wouldn't cost us anything on our number of days. And I think it's covered where it says, the last sentence, the engineer can discuss and adjust working schedules to try to keep costs within the budget. And that should protect us. Let's say that federal highways delay us some. Those are per day, not consecutive days. So project gets shut down for a week because they haven't got their work done. They being federal highways or something. It doesn't go against our total 210 days on the Dog Lake Lane, and the same for the 30 days on the other ones. That was one of my questions. I think it's covered at the very end.
Yeah, and well, 3/4 through the paragraph of number 4, we're on page 8 of 15. And it says if any project are delayed by federal highway or environmental permit process, work is postponed until 16-17 construction season, the engineer will not charge additional services costs unless the 240 calendar day window of time.
There it is. I didn't pay attention to the acronym.
Yeah,
FHWA.
it's right there.
Thank you, it's right there, he did put it in. Okay. I'm sorry to jump.
No, that's all right.
That was.
So, he's pretty much, the engineering, there's 195,000 that's gonna be for the staking of the project. And then 233,000 is gonna be the design, the preliminary design and surveying of it. So there's pretty close to, $400,000 worth of engineering going on, just the Dog Lake. And then of that 195, or that, there was 202,000, but 75,000 of that goes back to Federal Highway for their part of the NEPA study. Because they're gonna do their own work as far as the environmental, to meet all their compliances. So Federal Highway is gonna have their own people there as well. One thing I noted on 8 of 15 on that number 4 paragraph that we need to all be aware of is when we get into a calendar year and start that project on the 240 days, there's no way the crew I have today is gonna be able to make that. I'm out here shouldering this fall and I have 3 belly dumps and I sit there and I look at it and here goes another week. And I've got myself so low on people that I probably went too low too, because I'm seeing projects that are just not getting done, it's
I've
taking
been
forever.
telling you that for the last 2-3 years.
So we get in that calendar window, we're gonna have to really up that up, because we're gonna have to fit in that window, because the crew I have now, we could probably work out there 2020. 2 mile or a mile a year or something, but, so, the truck force and all that's gonna have to double. We're gonna have to move material. And
So what are you proposing?
well, we're gonna have to look at hiring some part-time people, or trying to grab some retirees, but we can't fill the road department back up, because as soon as this project's over, we're done, and to hire for steady. So it's gonna be something that we'll have to really watch and study when we get close to it.
I guess today is not the right day for that discussion, but you're on full-time, you're 1 or 2 short. I understand you need temporary part-time for this project, but still for day-to-day operations, Rick, you're off the lane right now.
Oh, I know.
So, did Mr. Bailey review this?
Yes.
Did he have any comments?
The only comment he had was that he never seen the start and the start of the stop of the project, and I pointed out that the engineering starting point, as soon as this is signed by you guys and approved, they'll start tomorrow. In fact, if the weather holds, they'll be over here with the surveying crew and surveying the canyon. So they'll start, will be coming right away. The thing that Jeremy needs to be aware of, that I haven't got my reimbursement agreement signed, which the federal government evidently ran out of money, but it re-ups. You were saying, Brad, after in October, there should be a new money.
Their budget usually, their new budget starts probably would.
I'm trying to about to start a couple of
They're
them.
on continuing the resolution.
So I can do the match, we have those agreements signed in place right now, but for reimbursable, there's no agreement signed at this point, so if Jeremy was run over here for 2 weeks and run a $50,000 bill up, I don't have any money to pay him, because that's not my match, you know, he's coming out of the hard dollars to the federal
And
government.
you'll
So-
have that discussion with him, make sure.
Yeah, and we'll have to make sure he's aware of that, which I know he will be. He'll probably delay his billing or something, but, right now, the original plan of this whole project was the NEPA was done this summer, and this fall, we would be crushing and, be putting culverts in. None of these things have been done. We're still sitting here waiting. So this running over, you can see the writing on the wall
So what are we
already.
hearing from our federal rep on this?
That's what he's talking about, there's the federal side is way behind it.
Well, I know,
Yeah.
but what are they saying? Is it
They
related?
just backed up, there's so many projects, they just, and not enough people in there, and then they let Jeremy know the other day that there wasn't reimbursement money to be in there to signing agreements, so they weren't ready to sign them. That's why I was gonna try to run George down on Thursday there. And
George.
Ferguson or,
Vaqueros.
Harris, yeah, and,
I will probably see him at AOC, hopefully, try to get him out.
well, I'm gonna try to run up Thursday and AOC and see him too.
Good.
I got one class there, so I'll come up Thursday.
Well, I'll move to approve the agreement for engineering services between Lake County and Atkins Consulting Engineering LLC as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agreement between Lake County and Atkinson Consulting Engineering LLP as presented. Discussion. So, as you said, Rick, you'll be talking to Jeremy, you'll be talking to the federal rep, so that we don't end up having him go out and do stuff that we're gonna be.
Yeah. you're
I'll email him today to let him know that this part's done, but to be aware that we don't have a reimbursement agreement.
You made the comment that caught my flag, is that you might just hold off on the billing until the reimbursement is
I do
authorized.
appreciate
I would have a little concern, because the work would have already proceeded.
Yeah, it can't be dated before the agreement, because they won't accept it at that
Right.
point. First thing that they told me when we got this grant, don't sneak out and do some work and think you're gonna send a bill in. It's gotta be within a window of the date of the agreements.
Well, what I'm saying is, what you said earlier, you might do the work and submit the bill afterwards,
Mhm.
but I'm concerned about the work itself.
Yeah, right.
The other thing, just for Jimmy, you mentioned, well, first off, Dog Leg Road, the full rework, I mean, the rock base is shot, they have to go all the way down, put in rock. Now, you mentioned, Rick, that it'll have to sit there for a year before we pave. We need to make sure that we know that the residents out there know that they will have a gravel road for a year.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. That is the end of our official special session at 11:14.
I didn't know that.